All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Stafford, through counsel with Mr. Attorney Stinson, you're entering a no-low plea to the failure to maintain insurance charge, sir. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you understand that by entering into the plea that you're doing this with the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And sir, do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the no-low plea to the failure to maintain insurance charge?
Yes, sir.
Attorney Stinson, is there a factual basis that you stipulate to?
There is, Judge.
All right. Is there anything you'd like to say, Attorney Stinson?
Yes, Judge. This was a court-appointed case. Mr. Tolles has insurance now, and would ask you to consider that in mitigation of the fine amount, as he will have to pay restitution as well for court-appointed services.
All right. Well, rather than the fine being $695, the fine will be $595. You understand that, Mr. Stafford?
Yes, sir.
Also, at the time of Attorney Stinson's appointment, the city did intimate that it might seek restitution for the court-appointed fees. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
That amount is $250. If the court were to award it, do you understand it would be added to your fine balance? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
That would bring your total fine balance up to $845. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you have any objection to the court-appointed fees being added to your fine balance?
No, sir.
All right, sir, you will be ordered to pay the sum of $845. You will be placed on probation for 12 months. 2 months of your probation will be mandatory. After 2 months, if the fine is paid, your probation can end. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And sir, your no-low plea will be accepted. You will be provided with a plea form to enter a no-low plea and given instructions regarding probation. Please comply with all terms and conditions so that you're not brought before the court on a revocation calendar. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the court?
No, sir. Only thing I have to ask is I've been having a lot of hard times and trying to pay some bills, and I'm not in the place that I used to stay, and I lost that, and I'm just trying to find out if I can just pay a little something at a time, because I'm having a hard time with my money finances.
Well, sir, you will have several options. Once you go on probation, you can fill out a financial affidavit form, and you may meet the requirements for community service. If you do meet those requirements, all or a portion of your fine will be converted to community service. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If not, while on probation, they will take your total payment, spread it out over 10 months, add in the monthly probation fee, and that will make your payments smaller per month. That option will be left up to you as to whether or not you want to pay the fine or whether or not you'd like to be considered for community service. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other questions?
No, sir.
All right, well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, that will conclude this matter.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
Ms.
Judge.
Green, thank you. Take care, Attorney Stinson. Ms. Green, is there anyone else in the lobby?
Yes, we have Ms. Brown.
All right, can you please bring her forward? Is Ms. Kayana Williams?
We haven't admitted everyone.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's hold off on Ms. Brown. Is there anyone else, Ms. Green?
That's it.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and admit everyone else? Go ahead, Ms. Yates, I'm sorry.
Judge, I'm sorry.
Officer Bailey, I believe that's the only case that she had.
Okay,
And
Officer Bailey,
yes,
on the case with Brown.
I'm sorry.
Let me find Officer Bailey. Okay, yes, Officer Bailey can be excused regarding Toll Stafford.
Okay, thank you.
Judge,
Thank you.
along the same lines, so we released Mr. Klein, and I believe Officer Estrada, that was the only one that they were on.
Okay,
And also, let me look at, well, Cruz Leon has 2, I believe. Correct me if I'm seeing this incorrectly. Cruz Leon. No, apparently Cruz Leon just has one, and they were on the other Brandon Klein matter.
Okay.
And then Mr. Smiley was able to log on.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Smiley? He's on here, but he's not. He had his picture up just a second ago. So I guess we just move forward, Judge. I was gonna try to get him out of the way real quick, but
Okay. All right. If we can go ahead and let everyone in the queue in.
Kevin.
Hello.
As you come into the queue, please make sure that your device is muted. Please ensure that your device is muted.
Asegúrense que su aparato esté en mudo, el micrófono.
That's fine. We'll let them know.
As you come into the queue, please make sure that your device is muted. You can let me know once everyone is in, Ms. Yates.
Okay. We still have several people that are connecting their
Thank you.
audio.
All right.
We have 3 people that are still connecting their audio.
Okay. Officer Estrada is sending through the chat whether or not they're still needed. Can we let him know that he's not?
Yes, sir.
As you come into the queue, if you will please type your name and your email address in the chat and send it to FPMC. As you come into the queue, please type your full name and your email address into the chat and send it to FPMC.
Por favor, pongan su dirección electrónica y su nombre en el chat, en lo que entran, y mándenlo a FPNC. Pongan su nombre y su dirección electrónica y envíenlo a el FPMC que está en el chat.
As you come into the chat, please type your full name and your email address in the chat and send it to FPMC.
En lo que entran ustedes, pongan en el chat su nombre completo y su correo electrónico y envíenlo en el chat a la parte que dice FPMC.
Please make sure your devices are turned to mute.
Por favor, asegúrense que su aparato se encuentra en mudo.
Please make sure that your videos remain on at all times.
Y en todo momento su video debe estar encendido para verle.
I'd like to welcome you to the Forest Park virtual trial session.
Quisiera yo darles la bienvenida a Forest Park, a esta sesión.
My name is Ronald Freeman, and I am the judge here in the city of Forest Park.
Yo soy Ronald Freeman y soy el juez aquí en la ciudad de Forest Park.
The prosecutor's name is Andreas Maria Rose,
El procurador es Andreas Marreros
and he will be representing the state as it relates to the prosecution of all offenses.
y él está en representación de la Fiscalía del Estado con lo que se refiere a todos los casos.
All communications will be done electronically.
Todas las comunicaciones se efectuarán electrónicamente.
Therefore, we need your email address and your full name.
Es por eso que necesitamos su nombre completo y dirección electrónica.
Please leave your devices muted until you hear your name called.
Por favor, continúen estando en mudo hasta que le llamen su caso.
Please make sure that your background remains without any distractions.
Por favor, asegúrense que la parte trasera de donde están ustedes es neutral para que no sea una distracción.
And please make sure that you have proper connectivity with the internet.
Asegúrese igualmente que la conectividad que tiene con el Internet es apropiada.
Please remove all hats or other items from your head unless you have those on for religious reasons.
Por favor, quítense cualquier sombrero o gorro que traigan o algo de la cara, a menos que estén usando algo con motivos religiosos.
Understand this is a formal court setting and it will be conducted accordingly.
Entiendan que este es un lugar formal en que se esté efectuando esta sesión y debe hacerse debidamente.
When you hear your name called, you will announce your plea.
Cuando ustedes escuchen que se llama su nombre, se le puede dar la oportunidad de hacer su declaración.
If you are a witness, just simply announce that you are here.
Si usted es testigo, por favor, únicamente diga que está aquí y de su nombre.
And if you are an officer, please announce that you are here.
Y si es uno de los oficiales, simplemente indíquenos que está aquí.
If you enter a not guilty plea, we will convene your trial today.
Si usted se declara no culpable, hoy vamos a realizar el juicio suyo el día de hoy.
If you change your plea to guilty or nolo, we will adjudicate your case without a trial today.
Si usted se declara culpable o nolo, o sea que no va a disputar la acusación, entonces hoy nos haremos cargo de su caso.
I'm about to call the calendar.
Voy a llamar la lista de litigios que están en el calendario.
When you hear your name called, unmute your device.
Cuando escuchen su nombre, quite de mudo su aparato
And make your announcement, which will be guilty, not guilty, or nolo contendere.
y entonces anuncie cómo se va a declarar culpable, no culpable o nolo, que quiere decir que no disputa la acusación, no
Ay-
lo contenderé.
Again, witnesses and police officers simply announce whether you are present.
Y de nuevo, los testigos y los agentes de la policía anuncien cuando cuando llamen su caso que están aquí presentes.
First is Shanu Anderson.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
What is your plea, Miss Anderson?
We're gonna go ahead and go with guilty.
All right. Miss Hayes, is Miss Hayes present? All right. Miss
Yes, I'm
Anderson?
here.
All right, she is entering a guilty plea, so there will be no trial today. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Miss Anderson, do you understand that by entering into the guilty plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, sir, I do.
Are you entering into the plea, Miss Anderson, freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir, I am.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the guilty plea today?
we gonna say yes, sir.
All right. The fine amount is $200. Are you able to satisfy that today, or do you need more than 2 weeks to pay it?
No, I don't need more than 2 weeks.
All right. Then you will be given up to 2 weeks to pay the sum of $200. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir, I have.
Can we confirm that, Ms. Yates?
One moment.
And Ms. Anderson, if you will just tell Ms. Yates your email address.
It is, well, it looks like Shanu, but my name is Shanwi. So Shanwi_Bartley@yahoo.com.
I have it. Thank you.
Okay, then Ms. Anderson, you can disengage from the call. You will receive your plea form to which you will enter a guilty plea by close of business tomorrow, along with your 2-week agreement. Please make sure that the $200 is paid within 2 weeks. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me?
No, sir.
All right, well, thank you, and you can disengage from the call. Ms. Hayes, you can disengage as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you both. All right, Genesis Arroyo.
Génesis Arroyo.
I see someone by the name of Genesis trying to connect, but they haven't
Oh.
been able to do so.
That's okay, we'll come back to them. Thank you. Clifford Babcock.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're Mr. Babcock?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
am not seeing Mr. Babcock. Do you have your video on?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
He is on, Judge. He's down at the
Yes,
bottom
sir.
corner of my screen on the right-hand
Okay,
side.
that's with the kind of lime colored shirt on?
Yes, sir.
Mr.
Yes,
Babcock,
sir.
what is your plea to the hands-free violation, sir?
Not guilty, sir.
Okay, we will call this matter momentarily for trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Isaiah Bennett.
Sir,
Mr. Bennett, what is your plea to the failure to yield charge, sir?
not guilty.
All right, is Marcus Jakes Savory available? Marcus Jakes Savory. We will come back to this momentarily. Shaniqua Brown. Shaniqua Brown.
I'm here,
What is your plea, Ms. Brown?
not guilty.
All right, is Kanaya Williams?
Here.
Ms. Williams, you're present. We'll call this case for trial momentarily, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Kyle Colbert. Kyle Colbert. That's FTA. Kyle Colbert. Chavez, is that your only case?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, Mr. Colbert is not announcing, and it is 8:32. We will just issue an FTA. Do we see Kyle Colbert anyplace?
No, sir.
All right, Chavez, good seeing you. You'll be notified of the next court date, okay?
Sounds good, sir. Have a good day. Thank you.
Take care. You can disengage.
Thank you.
All right. Amari Flowers. Amari Flowers.
She submitted her safe driver certificate and has already paid the fine.
Okay, well, then that one's been removed. Tommy Foster. Tommy Foster.
I believe that was going to be a bind over, possibly if they were the.
Well, it's an FTA right now.
I
Yeah.
understand. I apologize.
Oh, no. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. All right. Thank you. That takes care of that one. Alexis Garcia. Well, that one has been reset. Marcela Hernandez.
Marcel Hernández.
Yo soy el testigo.
I am the witness.
Okay. We're waiting to hear from Miss Marcela Hernandez. Can we announce for her again?
Estamos esperando a que la señora Marcela Hernández se presente a esta sesión. Vamos a regresar a este caso después.
All right. We will issue an FTA for Marcela Hernandez if we will let the witness know that they will be notified of the next court date.
Se va a poner que ella, la persona acusada, no compareció, no se presentó al tribunal cuando debía. Si lo necesitan como testigo, se le va a enviar un aviso para que tenga que presentarse de nuevo al testigo.
Tengo preguntas.
I do have some questions.
What are the questions?
¿Qué preguntas?
Es la segunda vez que estoy en corte por causa de ella y ella no se ha presentado. ¿Qué puedo hacer? Es que como a veces no puedo irme al trabajo sin que yo esté en
Okay. This is the second time I appear to be in court as a witness, and she has not appeared. What am I supposed to do? I am missing work because I had to connect and not go to work. So it's been like this.
Well, tell him that an FTA will be issued for her non-appearance and that we hope that he continues to participate so that this case is not dismissed in her favor.
Bueno, vamos a emitir una orden de que ella no compareció de nuevo y para no retirar el caso, nosotros apreciamos su presencia si es que le vuelven a enviar un aviso. De otra manera, no se va a procesar el caso de ella y se va a retirar la causa. Por eso apreciamos que usted esté presente.
Ok, gracias.
Okay, thank you.
Tell him he can disengage. All right, Ricky
Yes,
Humphreys.
se puede retirar, señor.
Ricky Humphreys. Ricky Humphreys. Gordon Layton.
Here.
All right, Mr. Layton, Ricky Humphreys. All right, Mr. Layton, it looks like Mr. Humphreys, an FTA will be issued for him as well, sir. You will be notified of the next court date, but right now a failure to appear will be issued for Mr. Humphreys, sir. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, thank you for coming on, sir, and you can disengage. Charles McDaniel. Charles McDaniel.
I'm here.
What is your plea, Mr. McDaniel? Not guilty, guilty, or nolo contendere?
Not guilty.
All right, thank you. Is Shaquivas Manning and Pedro Lucas available?
Here, Shaquarius Manning.
Okay, I apologize. And is Officer Fields available? Officer Fields. All right, we will call this case. We will call this case for trial momentarily. Thank you. Siobhan Mulgrave. Siobhan Mulgrave. Siobhan Mulgrave. Wilner Johnson. That'll be FTA for Siobhan Mulgrave, and Wilner Johnson did not appear. All right, it'll be FTA for Siobhan Mulgrave. Joseph Nantama.
Hey, Judge, I represent Mr. Nantama. I believe he is on now. And I was wondering if there's a way that I could briefly speak with the solicitor about that case.
You can, Ms.
Let me
Yates, can
see
you
if-
please
Judge,
place?
let me see if
attorney-
I can cut that short for Mr. Smiley. Is your client a CDL holder? I don't see that he has a Georgia license.
No, he's not a CDL holder.
So Mr. Smiley, if he's willing, I will drop it down to 54 and a 40 to make it non-reportable. And then he just has a fine of what, I don't even know what the fine is, Judge. What is
It's
that?
165.
165.
That sounds perfect.
Okay, so if he's willing to enter a plea to that, we'll be good to go.
Mr. Nantoma, are you on?
Yes, I am on. Good
He
morning.
needs to turn his video on.
Yes, Judge.
And is that acceptable to you, Mr. Nantoma, a non-reportable
Yes.
offense?
Yes, please.
Counsel, can you please ask your client to stop driving a car while he is in a court session?
Yes, Mr. Nantoma,
Yes,
can you please pull over?
We'll
Okay,
just
sir.
come back to him. We'll
Okay,
come
sir.
back. Jessica Perez,
I'm here, Judge.
what is your plea, Ms. Perez?
Not guilty.
Thank you. Luis Orozco.
Luis Orozco.
Aquí estoy.
I'm here present.
We will call this case for trial momentarily. Sabrina
a-
Pitts.
Llamaremos ese caso pronto.
Okay.
Sabrina Pitts.
Present,
What is your plea, Ms. Pitts?
not guilty.
All right, Rodriguez Whitehead. Rodriguez Whitehead. All right, we will call this matter momentarily. Amari Tharp Reed.
Yes, I'm present.
What is your plea, Mr. Reed?
Not guilty.
Thank you. We have Officer Green. We'll call that matter for trial. Keela Williams. Keela Williams. Keela Williams. That is FTA at 8:40. All right. That concludes the calendar. Let's go back to the beginning. We have a few trials. Mr. Prosecutor, do you want me to announce your trials, or do you already know who they are?
I know who they are, Judge.
Okay.
Can we go ahead and take the plea on Mr. Smiley's case?
Yes, if his client has stopped driving.
And Judge, while we're waiting on that, I believe we were holding on Genesis Arroyo because they were trying to get in. Did they ever get in, Ms. Yates?
No, they did not.
Okay. Do you want to continue to hold on that one, Judge? Or do you want to do that as an FTA?
If they've not come in, we can just do it as an FTA.
And Judge, did I miss the announcement on Clifford Badcott? Was that
He entered a not guilty plea.
not guilty? Okay.
Is Attorney Smiley and his client ready to go?
Mr. Nantoma, have you pulled the vehicle over?
See him on here anymore, Judge.
He's turned off his video. He's the iPhone 10. How do you spell stop?
Okay.
Well, I don't think he fully understands what the requirements are for this session. So why don't we just deal with all the trials? Counsel, I hate to hold you up, but your client is not doing what he's supposed to do. Let us begin some trials and we will then come back.
Okay, Judge.
All right, Judge. So the first one that I have is going to be on Mr. Badcock. That's going to be Officer Cooley Hebron. Find his citation up here. Officer Cooley Hebron.
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay, there you go. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Mr. Babcock.
He appears to be
Everyone else,
frozen.
everyone else, please mute your device.
Can you repeat that?
Mute your device. If not, Ms. Yates, can you mute all devices except for those that we're on a trial?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Are we able to deal with Mr. Babcock, or do we need to come back to him?
It appears we may have to come back. His video is off and his audio is off.
Okay, let's come back. Officer, if you will just hold on.
Yes,
Next
sir.
would be Isaiah Bennett.
I'm here.
I'll let you speak with the judge.
And is Marcus Jakes Savory.
The FTA and the officer's already been released. So I'm not sure how he's gonna handle that, but you can have a seat and I just let him know you can.
I think we are hearing some distraction in the background. Is that?
That might be the
That's
court.
the courtroom.
Oh,
I'm
no
sorry,
problem.
Your Honor.
Okay, no problem. All right. We're dealing with Bennett and Savory and Officer Richards. Marcus Jakes Savory.
Did we not have an announcement from that witness earlier, Judge?
I don't think that that witness announced. Does the city have a motion?
Let me just make sure of something real quick, Judge.
Marcus Jakes Savory.
Yep. Hearing no announcement from the witness, Judge, and being that the officer was dispatched to that location, the city would move to null pros for warrant of prosecution.
All right, Mr. Bennett, this case is being null pros for warrant of prosecution. Currently, that means the case is not going to be prosecuted. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yeah, I did it already.
All right, can we confirm that, Ms. Yates?
Yes, I have it.
All right, we will send to him his plea form. Well, he will enter his not guilty plea, and we'll send to him the criminal order showing that the case has been dismissed for warrant of prosecution.
Also, Your Honor, Officer Richard, that's the only case that they have. May they be dismissed?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Looks like the next one is Shania Brown.
Sorry, Judge, but I'm good to go.
You certainly are, young man.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you. Is it
And had a witness on that one was
Miss Williams, Shaniqua Brown,
Shaniqua.
and witness Williams?
I'm here.
All right, we're ready to go on this one. The officer is Officer Ellis.
yes, but let me just make sure. Miss Williams, was this, you were involved in an accident, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure because my citation does not have that indicated. All right, Judge, we're ready to roll.
All right, everyone that is going to testify, if you will please raise your right hand.
Todos los que van a declarar, por favor levanten su mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
Juran bajo protesta que la declaración que harán ante la causa presente será la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad. Juran ante Dios.
Thank you. All right, if we
Gracias.
can go ahead and proceed, I apologize.
That's okay. All right, Judge. Ms. Brown is before the court because on December 6th of 2021, she received a citation for failure to maintain lane. Officer Ellis issued that citation. This was an accident, Judge. We don't actually need the officer's testimony in reference to that because we do have the witness, Ms. Williams, present. Since the officer was dispatched to that location, did not view the accident, and made the determination based upon the statements and what he saw as far as the damage is concerned. So our first witness would be Ms. Williams. Ms. Williams, on the date in question, and you had previously been sworn in. So on the date in question, were you involved in a motor vehicle accident with Ms. Brown?
Yes, sir.
And was that accident, as far as you are aware, within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
And could you state to the court exactly how that accident occurred?
I was getting ready to make a right on Phillips Drive. I was already in the turning lane and she jumped over in front of me and tried to hurry up and turn into the Shell's gas station. But I guess she never looked and she didn't use a blinker.
All right. So you said that you were already in the turning lane. So her cutting in front of you meant that she was to the left of you in another lane?
Yes, sir.
All right. And did you call the police to come to the scene, or do you know how they arrived at that location?
I called.
All right. And were you guys still in the roadway when the police arrived?
Yes.
And the statement or your testimony that you gave today is the same as the statement that you gave the officer when they arrived on scene?
Yes, sir.
The damage to your vehicle, where was it located?
To the right side of the bumper.
Okay.
And like the front.
Okay. All right. No further questions, Judge.
All right. Miss Brown, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the witness?
Yeah, no, I don't need a question. I have to make a statement and I'll
Okay,
also
you will have a chance to make a statement, but right now, do you have any questions?
Well, she hit me from behind.
Okay, but again, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask right now?
No,
Okay. Does the city have any other evidence?
No other witnesses, Judge?
I have
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Miss Williams, you don't get to ask questions as a witness, unfortunately. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Miss Williams?
I was just curious as to the person that was in the car with her didn't have to come to court.
Okay. Again, you don't get to ask questions. Is there anything else you'd like to say as a witness? Miss Williams, is there anything else you'd like to say via testimony?
No.
Okay. All right, Miss Brown,
hi.
has the city rested in this?
Yes, Your Honor, city rests.
All right, Miss Brown, you can now tell us what happened.
I was in the right lane and she was in the left lane. And I put my turning signals on 200 feet before I made a turn into the Shell gas station. And it was raining that day. And as I was braking to turn into the gas station, she came from behind, sliding, rushing, trying to make a turn, and she hit my car. I do have a witness with me that was inside the car when I was driving.
Okay.
And his name is Clyde Bradley.
Okay. Does the prosecution have any questions you'd like to ask Miss Brown?
Yes, Your Honor, briefly. So Ms. Brown, it's your statement that you were already in the lane, is that correct?
I was in the left lane getting into the right lane. And she was in the other right lane getting over also too.
Okay, so let me just make sure that I understand completely. When you say you were in the left lane getting into the right lane, is the right lane that you were getting into the turning lane?
Yes.
All right. And your statement is that you were in that lane when you got hit? You were in the
Yes.
turning lane when you got hit?
Yes, I was in the turning lane. She had hit me from behind.
But if you merged over into the lane that she was already in,
She wasn't in that lane. She was all the way to the left lane. And I have a witness that's stating that she was.
but she hit you from behind.
She hit me from behind. She got over and merged over to the right lane.
Okay, so let me just make sure I understand your testimony. You're saying both of y'all were in the left lane.
Yes.
At some point, both of y'all got into the right lane, which is turning.
Yes.
But you are ahead of her already.
I was already ahead of her. I was already over, but by the time she got over, she couldn't stop her car.
Okay, and where was the damage to your vehicle?
The damage on my bumper head came off.
Well, what part of the bumper did she hit?
She didn't have no damage to her vehicle.
Ma'am, Miss Williams, you can't speak. You're not allowed to speak right now. You can only be called as a witness. Go ahead, Miss Brown, I'm sorry.
It was the rear bumper from behind. It had popped out a place.
But what part of the bumper did she hit? Did she strike the whole bumper? Did she strike a corner, the right side, the left side?
It was the middle of the bumper on the right side.
The middle of the bumper on the right side, would that be the passenger side?
That will be the passenger side.
Okay. All right, I have no further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right, Ms. Brown, you said there's a witness you'd like to call. What is the witness's name and where is the witness?
He's right here. His name is Clyde Bradley.
All right, let me have you to come.
Okay.
What is your name, sir?
Clyde Bradley.
Clyde Bradley, let me have you to please raise your right hand.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, sir, the prosecution may have some questions to ask you, but first, Ms. Brown, you have the right to ask your witness questions. So what question would you like to ask him?
On that day of, what lane was I in?
Okay, we got it. We got it.
All right.
Wait.
Ms. John, thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Hello? Okay, what lane was I in?
We was in the left lane, merging over to the right lane.
And what was the witness?
The witness was behind us. You know, being rainy, rainy conditions and everything, I guess she couldn't break in time. She collided with the back of us.
Did I have my turning signal on?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Matter of fact, it was on, I think, when officer pulled up, the turning signal was on.
I don't have any further questions.
All right, does the city have any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Sir, could you give me your last name again?
Bradley.
Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Bradley, so you were a passenger in the vehicle that Ms. Brown was driving, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and it's your testimony that you were in the vehicle when the accident occurred, correct?
Yes.
Did you give any statements to the police when they rolled out there?
Yes, I think so. I think he did take a statement from me.
Okay. Have you seen the police report?
No, sir.
Because I'm looking at the police report, and I don't have you listed as a passenger in the vehicle.
Because he took my ID and everything, when I was the passenger in the car.
Yeah, he doesn't have you listed as passenger in the vehicle on the report. The only other person that I have on here is Sebastian Clyde or Clyde Sebastian.
That's me.
I thought you just said
Sebastian is my middle name.
Excuse me?
Sebastian is my middle name.
Okay, your last name is what?
Bradley.
Okay, so they only have a Clyde Sebastian here.
Yeah, that's me.
What's your address, sir? And you just give me the street address.
Camera Landing Drive.
All right, that's not the person that he has the information for. In any event, no further questions, Judge.
You need my license now to see?
Okay. Mr. Bradley, what is your relationship to Ms. Brown?
Husband.
Okay. Okay. All right. Does the city have any other questions?
Well, actually, if I can recall Ms. Williams.
All right. Ms. Williams, the prosecution would like to recall you for questions.
I'm here.
Ms. Williams, when you were involved in the accident, did you know that, was there any other passengers present in the vehicle that was driven by Ms. Brown that you can recall?
It was a male, but I honestly don't remember what he looked like. He was just kind of dark skinned. That's all I can remember. And slim.
All right. In reference to the testimony about how the accident occurred from Ms. Brown, do you recall the statement that she made where she said that both of you guys were in the left lane and both of you turned into the right lane and you struck her from behind while she was trying to make her right-hand turn?
No.
Okay.
No.
can you state again how the accident occurred from your position?
I was already in the turning lane, getting ready to turn on Phillips Drive. My little sister goes to Forest Park High School. I was picking her up from school. Ms. Brown jumps right in front of me. She didn't use a blinker. She jumped right in front of me and tried to hurry up and turn it to the gas station. And it was raining. It was too late for me to brake. I hit my brakes, but I slid and still hit her anyway.
Okay. And so
I was
you were in
lane.
the turning lane, not necessarily to turn into the gas station. Were you going somewhere further up to turn?
I was on the street, but the gas station sit on the end of the street.
On the corner? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right. What is the actual tickets? What is the citation?
Your Honor, the citation is for failure to maintain lane.
Okay. All right. Let me ask Ms. Brown and Ms. Williams. This happened back in December of 2021. Has insurance already resolved the property damage on both vehicles?
Yes, sir.
All right. And was there any bodily injury to anyone?
No, sir.
All right. That's been resolved. So the property damage has been resolved. Today, I'm just dealing with the ticket. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Is there anything that either one of you all would like to say in final closing?
It wasn't my fault that.
I understand, Ms. Brown, that you believe it wasn't your fault, and I understand Ms. Williams believes it was your fault. Is there anything else other than that?
No.
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Ms. Brown, you've been charged with the offense of failure to maintain lane. The court does find you guilty of the offense. To the extent that insurance has already resolved this, I am going to reduce this to a non-reportable offense. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Which means it will not show on your record. You will pay a fine of $165, and that will close this matter out. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you able to satisfy that within 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
No, I have 2 weeks.
All right, you will be given 2 weeks. Are you there at the courthouse now?
Yes.
They will give you a plea form, and then they will give you a 2-week agreement. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, thank you all. Ms. Williams, you can disengage. Ms. Brown, they will take care of you, and then you will be released. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have
All
a good day.
Okay. It looks like the next matter is Charles McDaniel.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McDaniel is charged with DUI less safe. He's entered a not guilty plea. We have Officer Fields on this. Mr. McDaniel, have you spoken with an attorney regarding this matter?
No.
All right. Are you able to hire yourself an attorney, because the DUI offense is a very serious charge?
No, I can't afford an attorney right now.
All right. Do you want us to keep this case in Forest Park, or do you want it to be bound over to Clayton County?
Keep it in Forest Park.
All right. Do you want me to see if you're eligible for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
All right. Is Shaquivas Manning or Pedro Lucas on the call?
Shaquarius Manning here.
All right, Ms. Manning, thank you. Because of the nature of this offense, he needs to speak with an attorney. If he's unable to hire one, the court is inclined to appoint him one. Mr. McDaniel?
Yes.
You will be ordered to come down to the courthouse between today and Friday. You understand that?
Yes.
To fill out a court-appointed application form. If it is granted, the court will appoint you Michael Stinson, who is the public defender. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Please understand the city does have the right to seek restitution for the court-appointed fees. That amount cannot exceed $250. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If the court were to award that, that would be added on to your fine balance. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, this matter will be removed from the calendar. Ms. Manning, this matter will be removed for us to appoint Mr. McDaniel counsel, and you will be notified of the new court date. Do you understand that, Ms. Manning?
Yes, I have a question.
What is your question?
I have been trying to get a hold of Mr. Charles and the other party that was at hand. But the addresses that I have is not showing up as their address.
Ma'am, we discussed that earlier. You've been provided the information that you need.
Right. Well, right. I'm not just talking about Mr. Charles. I'm talking about the other the other person who was supposed to be a witness also.
Ma'am, if you call our office, we can discuss that further. I
Okay.
suggest you call back tomorrow.
I'll try because I have to go to work tomorrow, so I can try to call back.
Okay, we'll be in court all day today. So I suggest
Okay.
tomorrow or Friday.
Okay, sounds great. Do I disconnect?
It looks like I got dropped and I did not hear the young lady's question. Ms. Manning, you had a question?
Yes, the lady told me to call tomorrow or Friday for the information that I need.
Okay.
So I'll give you guys a call tomorrow or Friday.
Okay, that'll be fine. Mr. McDaniel, you were ordered to come down to the courthouse between today and Friday at noon to fill out a court-appointed application. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Please make sure that you do that. Failure to do it will be a violation of the mandate of the court. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
This case is going to be continued to give you time to do that because of the seriousness of this charge. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. This matter will be removed. Ms. Manning, you can disengage. Mr. McDaniel, have you typed your name and email address in the
Thank you.
chat?
Yes, sir.
Do we have Mr. McDaniel's contact information?
One moment.
And Mr. McDaniel, will you just tell them your email address, sir?
McDaniel Charles 33 at Yahoo.
All right.
I have it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You can disengage, sir. Mr. Prosecutor, it looks like the next matter is Jessica Perez.
I'm here, sir.
All right, Judge, that is going to be Officer Malone's case. And I thought I had Malone on here. No worries. This is an accident, so we don't need Malone's actual testimony. So we can move forward without the officer, but for some reason I have Officer Malone checked in. And Judge, bear with me because I'm going to be working off the police report since the citations condition is one where it's not really legible. Yeah, I can't make that out. All right, so I guess we can just swear everybody in, Judge.
All right. Everyone that is going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand. That would be Senor Orozco and Señorita Perez.
Todas las
And the
personas que
officer.
van a participar en esta causa, levanten su mano derecha. Ese es el señor Orozco, la señora Pérez y el agente.
Do you swear or affirm
Juran o afirman
that the testimony you're about to give
que la declaración que harán ante la causa presente
to be the truth,
será la verdad,
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad?
If so, say I do.
Si es así, digan así será.
I do.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Prosecutor.
I do.
Yes, Your Honor.
señor
Ms.
procurador.
Perez was charged with failure to yield the right of way
La señora Pérez se le acusa por no haber cedido el paso
on December 6th of 2021.
el 6 de diciembre del 2021.
Officer Malone is the officer who responded to that call.
El agente Malone fue el agente de policía que respondió a la llamada.
And Officer Malone is not present. We do not need their testimony because this was an accident.
Y el agente Malone no está presente, pero no necesitamos su declaración, puesto que esto fue un accidente.
Officer Malone was dispatched to that location.
Se le llamó por la radio al señor Malone, al agente Malone, para ir a responder a esa ubicación.
In any event, he issued a citation against Ms. Perez for failure to yield the right of way.
En dicho caso, él emitió una infracción de tránsito en contra de la señora Pérez por no haber cedido el paso.
And that was after taking the statements from both witnesses involved in the accident.
Y eso después de haber tomado las declaraciones de dos testigos que estuvieron presentes en el accidente.
And looking at the damage to the vehicles.
Y viendo los daños recibidos del vehículo.
Judge, the state's or city's first witness is going to be Mr. Orozco.
Su señoría, el primer testigo para la fiscalía va a ser el señor Orozco.
And he was previously sworn in.
Y él fue previamente puesto bajo juramento.
Mr. Orozco, on the date in question, were you involved in a motor vehicle accident with Ms. Perez?
Señor Orozco, en la fecha del día del accidente en cuestión, ¿usted estuvo involucrado en un accidente con la señora Pérez?
Sí.
Yes.
Were you the driver of the vehicle involved or were you a passenger?
¿Usted era el conductor del vehículo en cuestión o era usted un pasajero?
Conductor.
I was the driver.
And could you please state to the court how the accident occurred from your position?
¿Y le puede decir a la fiscalía desde su punto de vista cómo sucedió el accidente?
Pues yo estaba manejando en John Road de norte a sur al estar pasando la intersección.
It was the interpreter has to say that it was not clear the first part of this statement, so I need clarification. Señor, ¿no se le oyó bien? ¿Puede repetir lo que dijo?
Yo estaba manejando de norte a sur por Jonesboro Road al estar pasando la intersección de Main Street. Casi ya la estaba pasando cuando un carro como que iba a dar vuelta, me golpeó la puerta del conductor y la del pasajero.
Okay. I was traveling north to south on Jonesboro Road, almost getting to the intersection, at the intersection of Main Street. I was about to cross over when the other vehicle hit me on the driver and passenger door.
Okay, and did you pull over to the side after the accident? Were you in the roadway when the police arrived?
¿Usted movió su vehículo luego del accidente o se quedó ahí en la calle cuando llegó el agente de la policía?
Yo lo moví, lo metí en un parqueadero para salir por el otro lado porque la señorita ya se había movido también para adelante y yo quedé como en medio de las dos líneas porque ella me puchó para la otra línea, entonces tuve que mover el carro para no estar interfiriendo con el tráfico.
I did move my car to go park in an area because the lady who hit me, she also moved forward and I had to get out from the other side. And actually, I ended up between two lanes. So that's the reason why I moved my car so I wouldn't interfere with the traffic.
Okay. And Did you give your statement to the police officer once he arrived on the scene as to how the accident occurred?
Una vez que llegó la gente de la policía, usted le dio la información, la declaración usted de cómo había sucedido el accidente?
Sí.
Yes.
And was it you that called for the police?
¿Y fue usted quien llamó a la policía?
No, yo cuando me moví para estar atrás del carro de la señorita, ella ya estaba hablándole como a la policía y yo para qué hablaba dos veces.
No, when I moved my car after I parked behind the lady, I saw she was already calling the police, so there was no need to call the police twice.
Okay, nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right, Ms.
no,
Perez, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Senor Orozco?
No hay nada más para este testigo, señorita Pérez. ¿Hay algo que usted quisiera preguntarle a este testigo, al señor Orozco?
Yes, he says that I pushed him over to another lane, but I witnessed him driving all the way to the red light and stopping there.
So Ms. Perez, remember, this is where you ask questions.
Yeah, I'm asking him if he's saying that I pushed him to the, how can he have been on the other lane if he stopped at the red light is what my question is. He was still in the lane by the red light. So how is that possible?
Que él dice que yo le empujé al otro carril de manejo cuando él estaba pasando el semáforo en rojo. ¿Cómo es posible que yo hice eso si ya el semáforo estaba en rojo? Señora Jessica Pérez, por favor haga la pregunta. Sí, ¿cómo es que yo pude haberle pegado si el semáforo ya estaba en rojo?
¿Es pregunta?
So is that a question?
Sí, es una pregunta. Si cómo es, si yo te empujé, ¿cómo tú estabas en la línea?
If you're able to speak in English for the court, let the translator just translate for him.
Yes, if you say I push you, ma'am, señora, pare. Deje que la intérprete, si usted puede hablar inglés, habla en inglés y deja para que le escuche en inglés la fiscalía y deje que la intérprete interprete el otro idioma.
So if you can ask that question again in English, ma'am.
Por favor, haga la pregunta de nuevo en inglés.
Sure, I feel like if I can speak Spanish, I should be allowed to, but okay.
Well, no, because we have an interpreter to do that. So we just need your testimony in English, plus the judge needs to hear you.
No, yo siento que si yo hablo español, yo tendría el derecho de hablar en el idioma que yo prefiera. No, pero es que para eso tenemos a la intérprete. Por favor, indique cuál es su declaración en inglés.
Okay. My question is, if I pushed you over to the lane, how were you still in the same lane to stop at a red light?
Bueno, mi pregunta es, si yo le empujé a usted para pasarlo a al otro carril, ¿cómo es que usted siguió en el mismo carril en la parada donde estaba el semáforo en rojo?
Estaba en verde. Yo ya casi cruzaba el semáforo cuando ella quiso, no sé, tal vez girar o hacer una U, no sé, pero ella me pegó pues ya casi pasándole y estaba en verde el semáforo.
The light was in green as I was crossing. I don't know when she hit me, if it just spin the vehicle or what happened, what was the case, but when I was passing, it was a green light.
Ms. Perez, do you have any other questions?
Señora Pérez, ¿tiene usted alguna otra pregunta? No.
All right. Does the city have any other evidence it wants to introduce?
La Fiscalía, la ciudad, ¿tiene alguna otra prueba que quisieran introducir?
No, Your Honor, the city rests.
All right,
No.
Ms. Perez, you can now tell us what happened. The city has rested.
No, su señoría, la fiscalía, el Estado termina de presentar sus pruebas. Muy bien, señora Pérez, ahora usted puede decirnos cuál es su versión de lo que sucedió.
Hi, Your Honor. My name is Jessica Perez, and what happened that day was I was turning. I had the right of way to turn at the time. There was a car in front of the taxi, which he was driving a taxi, and I waited for that car to move. After that car left, I proceeded to make my left turn. The taxi came speeding through that lane. I mean, going so fast, there was no way I could have seen him. And when he went really fast, his car did not get pushed into the other lane. My car did hit him on the driver's side, and there was like a line across the driver's side and the passenger side of his car. He kept going until he got to a red light at the other end. That was the red light that I was talking about before. My car did not spin out. I was only going 15 miles per hour. As a matter of fact, everyone jokes that I drive so slowly that they would frame my first speeding ticket. I'm a new driver. I've only been driving for like a year or two. Anywho, when after the car hit, I stopped and pulled by a Chick-fil-A. There happened to be a Hapeville police officer that was there. He was the one who instructed me to call 911 and pull into a parking lot. And he assisted me in doing that because I was very nervous. And so he waited with me until the police officer came, and then he left about 5 minutes before Officer Malone came. The taxi driver did not immediately turn into the parking lot where I was until he saw me speaking to the Hapeville police officer. Then he came back. The insurance has satisfied the claim. I do have a letter. They have already received a settlement for close to $40,000 for I don't know what, but that is what happened. But honestly, Your Honor, he was going so fast at a yellow light, and people, I wish there were more Forest Park police officers because I hate driving in Forest Park. Nobody yields to a yellow light anymore. Everyone just speeds through, and that's exactly what this taxi driver did. They see a yellow light and they try to go faster. But
Your Honor, was the interpreter supposed to interpret all of this? If that is the case, which usually is, I have to stop and interpret what
So,
was
Ms.
just said.
Perez, Ms. Perez,
yes.
the interpreter is having some difficulty interpreting. So can I get you to speak in shorter sentences so the interpreter can interpret this for Mr. Orozco? Can you start over and interpret this and state this in shorter sentences?
Your Honor, I believe I have it written down.
Okay.
If I missed something, maybe she can tell me, but I just couldn't go any further after all of this information because I don't want to miss anything.
Okay.
So,
do you need for her to repeat what she said, or do you think you understand what she said?
I believe I understood what she said, and if I missed anything, please, Ms. Perez, be so kind to tell me. But
can you please, can you go ahead and do that in Spanish for Señor Orozco?
Yeah. Señora Jessica Pérez, por favor, si se me escapa decir algo de todo lo que acaba de decir, porque necesito que parar ahí para poder interpretar todo lo que acaba usted de decir. Si algo se me escapó, por favor, dígamelo. Well, Your Honor, I was trying to make my turn to the left, and there was a taxi, which is the vehicle that the witness was driving, and there was another vehicle in front of him as I was trying to do the left turn, the left turn. He was going so fast that I couldn't see him. And so I couldn't see him and how, to get to the other lane. And he is saying, it was on the light. He's saying it was not red, but it was red, the light. I was going so slow at 15 miles per hour that people actually make fun of me because I'm such a slow driver. I only been driving for a little over a year, and yeah, when I had to stop and I called the officer in Hateville, that's when he saw me that I
No.
stopped.
Sorry,
And then he stopped behind me.
Sorry, I didn't call the officer from Hateville. He happened to be at the Chick-fil-A.
Okay, no, yo no llamé al oficial, en Hateville. Él estaba ahí en el Chick-fil-A.
Yes, yeah.
Entonces él vino a ayudarme. Y de ahí llamaron al otro agente de la policía,
Yes.
cuando al agente Malone. Cuando entonces él vio que yo estaba ahí parada, fue que el señor que me pegó vino ahí a pararse en la parada de Hateville. Ahora, mi seguro ya llegó a un arreglo de $40,000 hasta ahora, pero yo lo que quiero decir es que ojalá hubieran más agentes de la policía en Forest Park que le ayuden a uno. Yo odio manejar en Forest Park y de hecho él iba pasando volado la luz del semáforo amarillo y la gente se pasa esas luces así de rápido, and that's where I stop. Your Honor, that's where Ms. Perez stopped. If I miss anything, Ms. Perez, by any means, let the court know so I can interpret.
No, Your Honor, an interpreter, everything seems to be correct.
Okay, thank you.
Todo estaba correcto.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Ms. Perez?
¿Algo más que usted quiera indicar, señorita Pérez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sí, su señoría.
What else would you like to say about the accident?
¿Qué más usted quisiera indicar sobre el accidente?
I just wanted to say that when I turned left, I just wanted to reiterate.
Yo nada más quiero decir que cuando yo me di vuelta hacia la izquierda, cuando traté de hacerlo y quisiera repetir,
there was a car that I yielded for and then proceeded to make my turn.
Yo le cedí el paso a otro
Ms.
auto
Perez,
que estaba ahí.
you've already said that. So is there anything else? Is there anything new that you'd like to say that's different than what you've said before?
Usted ya había dicho eso. Si es que usted quiere decir algo diferente a lo que dijo antes.
No, Your Honor.
No, su señoría.
So, Ms. Perez, let me repeat to you what I understand you to say.
Señora Pérez, entonces déjeme repetirle que es lo que yo entendí que usted dijo.
You were traveling in one direction and Mr. Orozco was traveling in the opposite direction.
Usted iba manejando en una vía en cierta dirección y el señor Orozco iba manejando en dirección opuesta.
The light turned
Sí.
yellow.
Entonces cambió el semáforo amarillo.
You were making a left-hand turn.
Usted estaba girando hacia la izquierda.
There was a vehicle in front of Mr. Orozco that came through the light.
Había un vehículo que había pasado del semáforo que estaba enfrente del señor Orozco.
Mr. Orozco was traveling in the opposite direction, in your opinion, at a high rate of speed.
En su opinión, el señor Orozco iba manejando en dirección opuesta a alta velocidad.
You made the turn, and that's where the accident took place.
Usted giró y ahí fue donde sucedió el accidente, cuando dio vuelta.
Is that what you were saying, Ms. Perez?
Yes.
¿Es
I
eso
never
lo
saw-
que estaba haciendo? Sí.
I
Yo
never
nunca-
saw Mr. Orozco's car behind that other car when
I
I yielded.
understand that you did not see the car, but my question is that what happened?
Yo nunca vi el carro del señor Orozco detrás de ese otro auto. Sí, yo entiendo esto, pero eso fue lo que yo dije, lo que sucedió. Sí.
All right. Okay. All right. Does the city have any questions?
¿La ciudad tiene alguna pregunta de parte de la fiscalía?
No questions, Judge.
No tengo
All right.
preguntas, su señoría.
All right, Ms. Perez, is there any other testimony or any other witnesses you'd like to call in this matter?
Señorita Pérez, ¿algo más que usted quisiera indicar o llamar a algún otro testigo para declarar en esta causa? No, su señoría.
¿Puedo hablar?
May I say something?
Unless the prosecution calls you to say something, Mr. Orozco, let me wait. Ms. Perez, is there any other witnesses or evidence you'd like to introduce?
No, Your Honor.
Señora, a menos que el procurador le llame a declarar, no puede hablar ahora. ¿Hay algo más, señorita Pérez, que usted quisiera indicar? No, nada más.
Okay. All right, Mr. Prosecutor, are there any other witnesses you'd like to call, sir?
Señor fiscal, ¿hay otros testigos que usted quisiera llamar? No, no tengo otros testigos.
All right, then both sides have rested. Miss, go
Ambas
ahead.
partes, thank you. Ambas partes terminaron de dar sus pruebas.
No,
Ms. Perez, you've entered a not guilty plea to the failure to yield charge.
Señorita Pérez, usted se declaró no culpable por no haber cedido el paso.
Ms. Perez, the court finds you guilty of the charge.
Señora Pérez, el juez le encuentra, en este tribunal le encuentra culpable de esta infracción.
The court is going to reduce this to a non-reportable offense, so it does not show on your record.
El juez va a reducir esta infracción a tal grado que no tenga que ser reportada en el expediente de historial de vehículos. Así que no va a aparecer en sus antecedentes.
And you will be ordered to pay a fine of $150 within the next 2 weeks, unless you need a longer period of time.
En las próximas 2 semanas que se le da de plazo, tiene usted que pagar una multa de $150, a menos que quiera decir algo más o
Ms.
necesite
Perez?
más tiempo.
Ms.
Señora
Perez, are you
Pérez.
able to pay that within 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
¿Necesita más tiempo o puede pagar en 2 semanas, señorita Pérez?
I will be able to pay in 2 weeks, Your Honor.
Yo puedo pagar en el transcurso de 2 semanas, su señoría.
All right, Ms. Perez, do we have your full name and your email address so they can send you your plea form and they can send you the criminal judgment form that shows that you were found guilty, the charge has been reduced to a basic rule, so it will not show on your record, and you will pay a fine of $150.
Señorita, entonces tenemos su correo electrónico y su nombre completo con la adjudicación del caso de culpabilidad para que usted ya se le redujo la infracción a algo menor para que no aparezca en su historial de manejo y la multa de $150. Sí.
Ms. Yates, do we have Señorita Perez's email information?
Yes, we do.
All right, then Señorita Perez and Señor Orozco, you both can disengage from the call, and thank you.
Muy
Thank you,
bien,
Your
ya
Honor.
tenemos la información de la señorita Pérez. Señorita Pérez, señor Orozco, ya se pueden retirar ustedes de la llamada.
Okay, gracias.
Okay,
Next
thank
we
you.
have Sabrina Pitts and Rodriguez Whitehead. Sabrina Pitts.
Judge, I believe that was the one where Mr. Whitehead did not announce. And
That is correct.
This for one prosecution.
All right, Ms. Pitts.
I'm not sure what happened to her. She was on.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
here. I'm here.
All right, Ms. Pitts, the charge against you is being dismissed for want of prosecution. Have you provided the clerk's office with your email address and your full name?
Yes, I have.
How did you do that? Did you do it through the chat?
Well, you know what? I'm not for sure, but
Why don't you hold on? Why don't you just tell them your email address?
I will. Yeah, that's
Go
what
ahead. Go ahead.
Sabrina Arnold, 72 @gmail.com.
Do we have that, Ms. Yates?
I
Ms.
have
Yates?
it, Sabrina Arnold 72 at Yahoo.
No,
At
Gmail.
Gmail. Okay, my
Yeah.
apologies. Okay, I have it. Thank you.
Okay, then you can disengage. You will receive your criminal judgment form that shows it's been dismissed for warrant of prosecution.
Oh, but I got a question. By it being dismissed on my behalf, I need to try to get his insurance information. Is that possible?
You can come down to the courthouse and get a copy of the police report.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Wow.
Next, we have Amari Tharp Reed and Officer Green. Amari Tharp Reed and Officer Green.
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, are you all ready to proceed? Mr. Tharp Reed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Everyone that is going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand.
They dismissed it. So that means I didn't get charged for it, right?
Miss, ma'am, can we please mute her? Miss Pitts, will you please mute your device?
I've removed her.
Thank you. Mr. Reed and Officer Green, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be true and correct based on your information and belief? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, you want to go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Tharp Reed is before the court because on February 17th of 2021, he received a citation for running a red light. Officer Green issued that citation. Officer Green, in the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Mr. Tharp Reed?
I did.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
Are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Yes, on that particular day of February the 17th at 22:04 hours, my vehicle is traveling northbound on Jonesboro Road when I noticed a silver Honda Civic traveling southbound on Jonesboro Road, run the red light at the intersection of Jonesboro Road and Old Jonesboro Road. At that point, I turned my vehicle around and initiated traffic stop. The vehicle pulled over at 4735 Jonesboro Road, Clayton Plaza. That's when I noticed the passenger and the driver changing seats while still sitting inside the vehicle. I advised our dispatchers to start me another unit. Officer Coley was close by. She responded on the scene. She stood by while I spoke with both parties. I spoke with the passenger, Ms. Torre, who is now sitting in the driver's seat, and also Mr. Amari, who is now sitting in the passenger seat, explaining on why I stopped the vehicle, as well as asking why they changed seats. The passenger, which is now in the driver's seat, Ms. Torre, stated that she was the driver. I advised her that the incident was captured on my patrol body cam. And she advised that she's sorry for lying to me, but Amari told her that he didn't have a license because his license was suspended. I spoke with him and he advised me that Lake City had informed him on February the 13th that his license was suspended. And he was license was suspended for failure to appear. He was taken into custody. He stated he was recently released on bond for that failure to appear. And Lake City advised him he needs to follow up with the Department of Motor Vehicle to take care of that matter. So I advised him he will be issued a citation for driving on, issue a citation for running the red light, as well as give a serve date since he stated he never received anything in the mail advising his license was suspended. And he was given a warning on that.
All right, nothing further for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Tharp Reed, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I need for you to come into the video, young man. Thank you. Keep your face in the video. Thank you. All right, does the city have any other evidence?
No other evidence, Judge.
All right, Mr. Tharp Reed, is there something you'd like to say, sir?
Yes, sir. The light was not red, sir. The light was actually green and it turned yellow as I proceeded through. And as I proceeded through, the light was red. And that's when she turned around and hit the lights on me.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say, sir?
Yes, sir. Doesn't that road has traffic camera lights to view the accident? I mean, the occurrence?
Yeah, I don't know whether it does or not, but if it does, either of you all could have subpoenaed it to court if you wanted it. Okay? All right, is there anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Tharp-Reed?
No, sir.
All right, does the city have any questions you'd like to ask Mr. Tharp-Reed?
Your Honor, I have no questions for Mr. Tharp-Reed.
All right, Mr. Tharp-Reed, you've entered a not guilty plea to the charge, sir. Based on the evidence, the court does find you guilty. The fine amount is $200. Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, sir, or do you need a longer period of time?
A longer period of time.
All right, sir, you will be placed on probation for 12 months. Your probation will end the moment this fine is paid. Do you understand that?
Oh, well, never mind. I can pay it today. I think I'll pay it today. I'll pay it today. I'll pay it right now. I think I'll pay it right now. I can't do no
Well,
probation.
all right.
Sir,
Let me
we're in
ask you
court
all-
today.
Let me ask you all, do
I'll
we
go pay
have
that
his
right
email
now.
address? Mr. Tharp-Reed, do we have your email address?
Yes, sir. Y'all got it.
All right, can we make sure that we have his email address?
I just checked. I don't have it.
All right, Mr. Tharp-Reed, if you will please provide your email address, sir.
AmariReed98@gmail.com. 200. That ain't nothing. This shit right now.
All right.
Okay,
Sir,
thank
you will
you.
they will email you your plea form. You will be given up to 2 weeks to pay the sum of $200. If
Thank
you
you
want to
so
come down to the courthouse tomorrow and pay it, you certainly can. Do you
Yes.
understand that?
Yes, sir. And I got a question. As soon as I pay that 200, I ain't got to worry about nothing. I'm good.
Well, you're good for this offense. It sounds like you
say
got
no
some other things going
Yeah,
on, but you're good
that-
for this charge.
That's all I need to know right there. That's what I'm saying. I got a lot of stuff going on right now. I just need to know if I pay the 200, I'm good on this.
That is correct.
That's all I need to know. Y'all have a good one. I pay that
All
little
right.
200.
Your Honor, may the Spanish interpreter be excused?
Yes, thank you. And thank you so much for your services today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I gotta go pay the 200. Come on.
All
That
right,
shit.
Mr. Reed, if you will please mute your device, sir. All right, Mr. Prosecutor, I think there are a few other matters that you have. Let's take a 1-minute break and I will be right back.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'm dismissed.
Oh, yes, Officer Green.
Nice one.
Your Honor, Solicitor,
Yes.
I have a gentleman that was on the docket. He came in late. That was Chavez's case. He is here. I had him hang on to the end.
Wait, I thought we only had one on the calendar for Chavez.
Yeah, the judge already dismissed Chavez.
That's right.
Mr. Colbert came in late.
Okay. What does he want to do?
I'm gonna let him come to the camera.
How you doing?
Good, Mr. Colbert. We called your case. The officer was present at the time, and apparently you just arrived after we released him. What did you want to do in reference to your charge?
Yes, sir. So I wasn't aware that I had court today. I forgot, or I guess I didn't forget, but what happened, I'm just used to having the reminder, which I know it's not anybody's fault but mine. But I also tried to call, and I was told by this young lady that also the number had changed, and I also sent an email to confirm that my court date was today, and I had to go to work this morning. So I ended up going to work, getting things started, and then coming over here to double check. And then when I got here, she did tell me that I was on the docket for today.
No, no worries. I mean, I understand that you showed up now. What I need to know is how you want to proceed, because we can do this one of two ways. Since you appeared, we'll probably lift the failure to appear, but because the officer was released, if you plead not guilty, continue with your not guilty plea, then we're going to reset you for a trial in the future.
And would I be charged for? I mean, will I be charged for that?
For what?
To get a new trial?
No.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I would definitely like to have another trial.
Okay, so we'll just give you a reset date. And we'll remove the FTA. Just make sure that before you leave there, you give us good contact information.
Yes, sir.
And send you a new court date when we have the availability for the officer, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No worries. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, Mr. Smiley, as soon as the judge gets back on, we'll take your matter first.
Okay, I'm ready.
Your Honor, Mr. Smiley is still on here and his client has pulled over and is stopped. So that was going to be a plea to
You were reducing it down to 54 and a 40, and he was gonna pay a fine of 165.
yes, sir.
Mr. Nantama?
Yes, Judge. Good morning,
It is-
Judge.
Good morning. It is my understanding that you're entering a guilty plea to the basic rules violation. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Judge.
Do you understand that by entering into the plea that you're doing this with the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, Judge.
Do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, Judge.
Are you entering into the plea, sir, freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Judge.
And sir, do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the plea?
Yes, Judge.
Attorney Smiley, is there a factual basis that supports the charge? If so, say there is one.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, the court will accept the negotiated plea. The speed has been reduced to 54 and a 40. The fine is 165. Can that be paid in 2 weeks, or does he need a longer period of time?
I can pay it. I can pay it today, right now.
All right, then are you at the courthouse?
I'm out of state, Judge. I'm in Wisconsin. I live in
Well, then you
Wisconsin.
won't be able to pay it today. You will
Okay,
need to come
Judge.
back here and pay it when you get here. They will make arrangements. Do we have his email information?
Judge, I typed it in.
Okay. Can this be paid within 2 weeks, counsel, or does he need longer than 2 weeks?
He can pay it within 2 weeks, Judge.
All right, you will receive his plea form and a 2-week agreement. I will rely on you, an officer of the court, that this will be paid within 2 weeks. If not, he'll be brought back before the court on a contempt hearing.
I understand, Your Honor.
All right, that will conclude the matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. It looks like the gentleman that was charged with the hands-free, Mr. Babcock. Mr. Babcock?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, it's my understanding you've entered a not guilty plea to the hands-free. Do we have Officer Cooley Hebron?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, sir.
Good. Mr. Prosecutor, you ready to go on this one?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, everyone that's going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, you want to go ahead and proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. On November 23rd of 2021, Mr. Babcock was issued a citation for unlawful use of wireless device. Officer Cooley Hebron is the officer who issued that citation. Officer Cooley Hebron, on the date in question, do you have an opportunity to come in contact with Mr. Babcock?
Yes, sir, I did.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Yes, sir. My patrol unit was sitting on the 4400 block of Jonesboro Road at the old Boost Mobile. So it's Jonesboro Road and College Street. While sitting in the parking lot facing the street on Jonesboro Road, I did witness Mr. Babcock on a black cell phone in his left hand.
Okay. And so you pulled him over and made contact with him, explaining why you pulled him over. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did he make any statements to you that you can recall?
Not that I could recall, sir.
All right. No further questions for this witness, Judge?
All right, Mr. Babcock, you have been accused of having a cell phone touching a part of your body while your vehicle was in operation. You have entered a not guilty plea. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
No, sir.
All right, does the city have any other evidence?
No other witnesses, Judge. City rests.
All right, Mr. Babcock, you now can testify, or if you have witnesses or evidence you'd like to introduce, you can introduce it at this time, sir.
Okay. So she's correct about where she was sitting in a parking lot, and I was traveling on Jonesboro Road. I was actually about to turn into the Chick-fil-A, which was right past where she was sitting. She states that I didn't. There was no discussion between her and I when she did pull me over, as she stated, because I knew there was no need for it at that time. So she issued the ticket, and I simply just drove off. But when I received the ticket, I did notice that she said that I had a black cell phone in my hand. So the only evidence that I really have to present is that I took the liberty before I got on this call of taking my cell phone case off. And this is my cell phone case. It's a brown cell phone case. I've owned it for about a year. What she's seen in my hand was actually this wallet that I have in my hand. It's a black wallet, a black leather wallet. That may have been what she's seen in my hand, but my cell phone is actually brown. And I've owned this cell phone for over a year now. So that's really the only defense that I have.
Okay. All right. Does the city have any questions?
No questions. I would like to recall the officer though.
Okay, go ahead.
Officer Cooley Hebron, on the date in question, you previously testified that you observed Mr. Babcock with a cell phone in his hand. Is that, after hearing the testimony given by him, are you still, are you sure that that was a cell phone that you observed?
Yes, sir, it was.
And could you state to the court any additional information that would give you the belief that it was a cell phone?
Only to the fact that it was held up to his left ear.
Okay. All right. So he was actually operating it, I guess, speaking on it or listening to something?
Yes, sir.
All right. Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right. Mr. Babcock, is there anything you'd like to say in response to that, sir?
Yes, sir, there is. She's stating that I had a black phone to my left ear. Like I said, once again, my phone is brown. When I passed her, she was on my right-hand side. So if I had it to my left ear, I don't even understand how she would have been able to see it because she was to the right of me. And my left side would have been not visible from where she was. And previously she stated that I had it just in my hand. And now she's saying that I had it to my ear. I actually have the hands-free phone holder in my phone, and my car actually has the Bluetooth. It's Bluetooth compatible, and that's the only way that I communicate on my phone while I'm driving. So that's all.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Is there anything else, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Okay. All right. That will conclude the evidence being presented in this matter. Mr. Babcock, you've entered a not guilty plea to the hands-free violation. The court does find you guilty of the violation. This is the first time, so the court is not going to impose a fine. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Sir, you've been found guilty. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir. Although I was, I got lost earlier and they had to reconnect, so I'm not sure if it's still in there.
All right. Let me have you to just simply tell Miss Yates your email address.
My email address is C and then Babcock, like my last name. So it's C Babcock 1000 at gmail.com.
Thank you. I have it.
Hello.
Hello, we're right here.
Oh, okay.
I received it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. You will receive your plea form and your criminal judgment order through your email. Thank you. That will conclude this matter. Thank you, Officer Coley Hebron.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's go to the next matter. What matter do we have next? I know we have a probation revocation matter this morning as well.
Yeah, Judge, let me make sure that I understand it, because I still have a Wilner Johnson on for Savon Mulgrave, but I believe that was a FTA.
Who do you have?
The young lady that's got on the cell phone that says Wilner Johnson.
Yeah, that was an FTA.
Miss Johnson, can you take yourself off mute? Can we take her off mute? Does anybody?
I just sent her the request.
I'm here.
Okay, Miss Ms. Johnson, you have that you're a witness for Savon Mulgrave?
No, I'm not a witness. Mr. Mulgray hit the back of my truck. I'm the person he hit.
Right.
Ma'am, you are a witness, but you are a witness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you, he did not report today. Go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor.
No, I was Judge, that this is your area. I'm sorry for
That's okay. He did not report today. An FTA has been issued for him. Once the FTA has been issued, if he's given a new court date, you will be notified accordingly. Do you understand that, Ms. Johnson?
I do.
So ma'am, you can disengage from the call and thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
And then we also have Genesis Arroyo, who was on hold, and I guess they popped back in.
No, it was Genesis Arroyo was FTA at 8:41.
Yes, we had her on originally, and we couldn't get her to respond, and we put her on hold, and then we came back to her, and they were logged off at that point, and then they came back on.
Okay. What is Arroyo's plea to the driving without a license and a traffic control device?
Ms. Arroyo?
I'm here.
Okay.
What is your plea to the charge, young lady? Is it not guilty, guilty, or nolo contendere?
Not guilty.
All right, you were late for court. Did you have a valid driver's license at the date and time that the officer stopped you?
No, Your Honor.
And what did you say your plea was again?
Well, can I change that?
You can. I just simply want to know, what is your plea?
Oh.
What is your plea to driving without a license and a traffic control device? Is it guilty, not guilty, or nolo contendere?
Guilty, but can I say something?
You can.
Okay. When I was passing the light, it was green and then it like turned yellow, and then I wasn't going really fast or anything. I was just going normal speed. And then it just happens like to turn red when I was passing.
Okay. Were you driving with a valid driver's license at the time?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have a valid driver's license now?
Yes.
Can you please
Judge,
show
she
your
is
valid?
eligible for a NOLO.
Okay. Does the city have any opposition just going forward on the license charge and dismissing the other charge?
No objection, Judge.
All right. The fine on the no license charge is $550. Do you understand that, young lady?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You are eligible for a NOLO plea. Do you understand that by entering into the NOLO plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes.
Do you also understand that by entering into the NOLO plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes.
Are you entering into the plea, Mr. Arroyo, freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the plea?
Yes.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask the court?
No, Your Honor.
The city is dismissing the traffic control device. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You're entering a NOLO plea on the driving without a license. That fine is $550. Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
A longer period because I have school.
Young lady, you will be placed on probation. Where are you in school?
Henry County.
Where in Henry County? You in high school, college, or what?
No, I was doing a program. It's a 6-month program for real estate license.
Okay, so you graduated from high school?
Yeah, I just graduated in May.
Okay, so you're trying to get your real estate license.
Yeah, I'm on there.
All right. You will be placed on probation for 12 months. Your probation will end the moment the sum of $550 is paid. You understand that?
Yes.
Now understand that your probationary fees are capped at 3 months. So if you get it paid off within 29 days, you do not have to pay any fees. Do you understand that?
Okay. And what is the fee?
$550.
Okay.
But once you go past the 29th day, you have to pay probation fees for every month that you're on probation, not to exceed 3 months. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Have you provided your name and email address in the chat?
I can do that right now.
Will you please just tell them your email address?
Yes, it's Genesis Arroyo 100@gmail.com.
I received it. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Yates, if we can provide her with her plea form where she's entered a no-low plea and also her probation information where she's 12 months probation, pay only. The fine is $550.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Arroyo, you can disengage from the call and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, is there anyone else from the this morning's calendar that we need to deal with before we get to the probation revocation calendar?
No, Your Honor, I believe we've dealt with everyone.
All right, sir, thank you, and I will see you at 1 o'clock, okay?
No worries. Can I ask a quick question of the ladies
Absolutely.
real quick? Either Ms. Yates, Ms. Payton, or Ms. Green. I have 2 versions of the afternoon calendar, and I'm trying to figure out which one I need to go by. I have one that starts off on page 1 with Latasha Battle, and then I have one that starts off with Lester Kuntz.
The Latasha Battle.
Sorry. Wait. Nope. All right, I'm good. Latasha Battle is the one I need.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. And
You're welcome.
Fun. Y'all enjoy revocations.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have 1 revocation matter this morning. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, do we have Attorney Golding as well as probation?
Yes.
And the offender, Mr. Fambro?
Yes.
All right, we ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Good.
All right, I'm going to let him in.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
How are you doing, Madam Probation Officer?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you, Judge?
I'm doing fine. We're awaiting Attorney Golding to turn on her video, as well as the Mr. Fambro. I believe he's at Clayton County, and they'll bring him into the pod.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good morning,
How are you
Judge.
doing,
How are
Attorney
you?
Golding?
I'm well.
Good. You are representing Mr. Fambro. He is in custody on a probation revocation. Is that correct?
Yes,
sir.
Judge, that's correct.
All right. Let me ask, Madam Probation Officer, have you and Attorney Golding discussed this case? Or do you all need some time to do that? Are we ready to go forward with the hearing?
Well, I gave her a copy of the previous petitions. This case had had 3 hearings. And the last was actually that in order for him to be released from probation supervision, he would have to have your permission. So we just kind of left it at that.
Okay.
Yes, Judge, that's correct.
Do I have
did
any
to check.
orders? Have I been the person primarily handling this, or was it, well, I guess I'm sure I have been. Did I do any orders? Because oftentimes with my orders, I will say something like, you know, if he's complied with certain terms, he can be released. If he hasn't complied, then we revoke the balance. Do I have an order like that in this case?
Yes, sir. December, there were 2 hearings with you, one with Judge McFarland. The last one that was held was December 2nd.
Of 2021?
2020.
Of 2020, okay.
Yes, sir. He was supposed to pay $800 no later than December 8th or return to court on December 9th at 9 a.m. City of Forest Park Court to serve 120 days, must remain on probation until released by judge, random screens throughout, fees, funds, and drug screens throughout. That is after he had failed a few drug screens and was in violation of a couple of previous orders. And then we had a hearing scheduled after that in May of 2021 that he did not appear for, and we had not heard from him since.
Okay, so let me just repeat. December 2020, he was supposed to serve 120 days, go back on what tantamount to intense probation, had another hearing in May, and from your understanding, he did not appear for that hearing. And so this, and then at some point he was picked up. When was he picked up?
Let me look at the.
And was he picked up on a probation revocation, or was he picked up for some other reason?
Looks like he was, I don't know if he was in custody any place else on anything other than the VOP, but it looks like he was booked into Clayton County on August 7th for this violation of probation, and that's the only charge here in Clayton County.
Of this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
All
Judge,
right.
so that is correct.
Okay, counsel, tell me, bring me up to date on what you know, because I know that oftentimes, well, it's helpful for everybody to be operating from the same information. So why don't you tell me what you know?
So I pretty much know basically the same things that Officer Brown stated, but I did have the opportunity to speak to Officer Johnson as well, and just trying to get some type of consent going to get the case moving. But she was under your orders that he was on probation until you said otherwise. And then I know that he failed some drug tests and that he stopped reporting back in last year. And so they issued a arrest warrant for him. And then once he was pulled over, that's when he was arrested on those arrest warrants, and then he was violated for his probation. And so I know that probation is under the impression that he failed the drug test numerous times, but also I guess I was just trying to get an understanding of how he ended up on probation for 24 months when his probation clearly said that if he paid all the fines that his probation would be terminated. But I'm guessing that since Your Honor said that he was on probation until otherwise, that's probably why he's still on probation at this point.
It is. Do we know how much time is remaining on his probation?
Mr. Fambro, as of today, has 232 days remaining, Your Honor.
Okay. He has 232 days remaining that I guess we're told because of he was not reporting and you all didn't know where he was.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And then, Judge, I didn't see a tolling order in anything that the probation office gave me, so I'm not sure if there was a tolling order, because I know that probation has to submit an affidavit as to why that probation should be told, and that the judge has to sign off on a tolling order.
Yes, let's see. Looks like the tolling order was signed and it was for him failing to appear in court. He was given notice and failed to appear.
Okay, can we shoot that to counsel so she can have that for her records?
Sure, yes, sir.
Counsel, what is your email address?
C as in Chelsea, G as in Golding at thegoldenfirm.com. And Golden is ING instead of EN.
Okay.
Got you. Yes, sir. It's on the way.
Okay. So
thank you.
Let me just ask historically, how many times, this is a young man or a young lady?
A young man.
How many times has he failed the drug screen?
Let me double check, Your Honor. I believe 4.
Over what time span?
Let me make sure. We'll go into the notes real quick. Okay. Looks like after the first hearing, when he reported before you, he was ordered to get a job within 90 days and submit to random drug screens. Failure to comply would result in 120 days revoked. It may refresh your memory, Your Honor, who Mr. Fambro is. During the first hearing, we were on Zoom. It was, I'll say, an animated hearing. And he requested to speak to you outside of probation. Ms. Wynn was his officer. I was handling the hearing that day. He actually went into an office in the probation office with none of us. He wanted to speak to you. So I don't know if that refreshes your memory, but that's Mr. Fambro.
Okay.
So he was 90 days to get a job and submit to random drug screens. A month later, he was tested. He tested positive on September 18th of 2020. So that's September. Excuse me. Looks like then there was continued missed appointments, not reporting pain. Looks like a hearing was scheduled then in December. He tested positive then on December 2nd. So we had the one in September. Then he wasn't reporting. He didn't report at all between that positive screen and November 20th when he was given a court date. So then on December 2nd, when he came to court, he did test positive again that day. That's when he was ordered to pay $800 no later than December 8th, or return to court on the 9th. And then that would, if he failed to do that, it would be 120 days revoked. He
Was the
also,
$800 paid?
it was, he had to
Okay.
remain on probation until released by you.
Okay.
So again, he tested positive on, that was December 2nd. So then looks like we have some, I want to make sure I'm doing this right. So there was missed his appointments. Next appointments came in January one time, and then we did not see him again from January to March 26th. At that point, he refused a drug screen on March 26th when he came to probation. He actually refused to submit and was given a court date for April 7th. On April 7th, he tested positive for marijuana.
That's April 7th of 21.
Yes, sir. And at that time, he was ordered to be drug screened for the next 6 months. If he tested positive for marijuana, he would be revoked for the remainder of his sentence. He tested positive that day on April 7th. So that's the third one since that September, December, refused one in March, tested positive in April. So that's April 7th. Then we didn't see him. He came in May 7th, failed his drug screen on May 7th, tested positive for marijuana on May 7th. So he was given a court notice for June. Then reading through the notes just to make sure. His court was scheduled for June 9th. On June 8th, looks like for some reason we changed the time of the hearings. The court time was changed from 9 until 1, which was kind of common during the Zoom era there. So we sent him a message saying your hearing has been moved to 1 p.m. per Judge Freeman. Please report to the probation office at 1 o'clock. He sent a text message on that same day saying, I'm out of town working. And we did not hear from Mr. Fambro again. Looks like it was about 2 weeks before a warrant was submitted, but we didn't have any contact with him after June 8th of 2021 until now.
Okay. All right.
And then Judge, if I could just add, because I'm looking at the sentencing, the original sentencing from March 2020, and down where it says the following conditions are applicable only if checked, which is condition number 10, it says abstain from the use of alcohol and drugs and submit to random alcohol drug testing. That box isn't checked off. And so I'm not sure how Mr. Fambro ended up in this whole drug screening thing and everything. And then I know probation is saying that he violated condition number 8 that says avoid injurious and vicious habits, especially alcoholic intoxication, narcotics, and dangerous drugs not prescribed lawfully. So I just don't believe that marijuana falls under narcotics or dangerous drugs, and that I feel like, someone who's not familiar with the law or familiar with the system and seeing that number 8 says what it says, but then number 10 isn't checked, it would leave someone unclear as to whether or not they should abstain from drugs or not. And so I know going forward, though, that the court put him under order to submit to drug testing and that he tested dirty. But going back to the original sentencing document, it just wasn't already in his probation.
Okay. So let me just say this to you, counsel. How long have you been representing him?
For the past 3 weeks.
Okay. I think that Mr. Fambro has a drug problem. Okay. And I can put him in jail for 232 days, but I really do think this young man probably needs to go into some type of inpatient drug program. I think that will serve him much better. Okay. Now, if I put him in jail, he won't have access to marijuana. Case closed. But again, I just think from listening to this, and I do recall him, he likes marijuana. He smokes it on a regular basis. Do you know of any program you can get your client in minimally for 120 days, inpatient, that he could go do that, come back to me, And then I would be inclined to possibly do something different than just sit him in jail. And I'm giving you that option because I think that that is, you know, I will leave that up to you and I will leave that up to him. But if you want some time to talk with him, if not, we can go forward with a hearing. But I think, you know, these facts probably don't, they're probably not going to come out in a way that he wants them to.
Okay. And
So do you want some time? If you say no, Judge, let's go forward with the hearing, and I'd rather just take my chances because I feel like I can come forward with mitigating circumstances, I'm fine with that. But I also feel like I needed to kind of give you my knee-jerk response before we started this hearing, which is to offer you and to offer him an opportunity to do a 120-day inpatient treatment. And if it's an economic situation, how old is he? Do you know?
He is 22.
Okay, if it's an economic situation, then you do know there is a camp down here in Fort Stewart that he could do down in Hinesville that does not charge any money. And there are other ones around the state that he could do. He just needs to get in it.
And he has to stay there overnight and everything.
Oh, absolutely. This is definitely this is him staying there, correct.
Okay, I was just asking because
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. No, that one, he lives there for about 90 to 120 days. The one down in Fort Stewart. I'm not advocating for it. I've had people to go do it. It did well. I've had people to go down there and get mad and leave. You might be able to find a program through a church or someplace else. I know that Antioch on Northside Drive through Reverend Cameron Alexander has a program that is on some farm up in North Georgia. But all of this is inpatient. He will be there 24/7 for minimally 120 days.
Okay, so I mean, I probably will just go forward with the hearing because the only thing with that is Mr. Fambro actually is a signed artist. And so his job is kind of on the line with him being incarcerated and with him having to be in an inpatient program because they're paying for his like recording sessions and stuff like that. And then he's not there because he's incarcerated. And so he's just in a very tight dilemma where it's like he's going to end up owing them the advance that they paid out to him. And so, I mean, I feel like regardless, we'd be in the same predicament with 120 days being either revoked in jail or revoked in an inpatient treatment program, which will leave him in the same predicament of losing his job and losing custody of his daughter that he has full custody of.
Well, let me just throw in, and I'll leave it up to you, but one of them may save his life. So, but I understand you want to go forward with the hearing. Everyone that is going to testify, if you will please raise your right hand. Mr. Fambro, if you will please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, Mr. Fambro, you can put your hand down. Sir, you are before me on a probation revocation calendar. You are represented by Attorney Golding. We've had a minor pretrial with me regarding this matter. You were able to hear everything that took place. We are going to go forward. In a probation revocation calendar, the burden of proof is not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but it's preponderance of the evidence or clear and convincing, or basically, is there any evidence to suggest that you have willfully violated your probation? That's the burden for probation. So they will outline to me first. Your attorney has the right to ask questions. And then if your attorney wants you to testify, you can. If she does not want you to, then that's certainly her call. But before we get started, Mr. Fambro, do you have any questions you'd like to ask me?
Just one. One question.
Go ahead, young man. What is your question?
My question is, was really kind of a statement.
Well, let me just say this to you. To the extent you're represented by an attorney, I would rather you run any statements by her first before you say anything. So is there, counsel, do you want me to see if I can do some type of breakout room for you to talk to him?
Yes, Judge, please.
Okay, is there any way for us to do some kind of breakout setting for counsel and Mr. Frambro to speak, and then we come back and engage back at, it is 10:17, so why don't we engage back? Why don't we say at 10:22? Council, you think 5 minutes is enough, or you think you'll need longer than that?
It should be fine.
I think, can we do 10 just to be safe?
Okay, then why don't we do this? Why don't we just come back on at 10:30? Okay, we're gonna stick y'all in
Okay,
the
that's-
breakout room. You can talk. We will start the hearing at 10:30.
Okay, thank you so much, Judge.
All right, no problem. Are you all able to stick her in a breakout room with Mr. Fambro?
Yes, it's going to be room 1.
Okay, I'm going to turn off my video and I'm going to mute.
Okay, thank you.
Zoom the court setting. All right, we're just waiting on Attorney Golding now.
Yes, sir.
All right, Attorney Golding, have you had an opportunity to speak with your client?
Yes, Judge, I did.
All
And
right,
then
is
just
there
for
any
clarity-
statement that you want him to make to the court before we begin this hearing?
No, Judge, but I did want for clarity just to understand. So if he does the inpatient program, would he be allowed to leave for work purposes, like to go to work?
No.
No, okay.
No.
So yeah, we'll go forward with the hearing.
Okay. All right. Okay. Everyone that is going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand. Again, Mr. Fambro, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do. All right. Madam Probation, will you please outline to me what are the circumstances of delinquency? Probation?
I apologize.
That's okay. This is the
Okay.
probation revocation hearing of Mr. Fambro. Can you please outline what the circumstances of delinquency are? In other words, why is he before the court?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I still had it on mute. Your Honor, Mr. Fambro was placed on probation March 4th of 2020, charged with a permit violation, driving on suspended license, and possession of marijuana. At that time, he was sentenced to 24 months probation and fines and fees that were attached. Looks like there were several probation revocation hearings, the first of which resulted in him being ordered to random drug screens throughout probation. He did test positive and admit to use on that day. He was then ordered to random drug screens. The hearing was reset for 90 days, must have a job and test clean in 90 days, or 120 days would be revoked in the case to close. He failed drug screens and failed to report after that. Another hearing was held in December. At that time, he did test positive again, was ordered to pay $800 no later than.
Let me just slow you down. Can you give the years? I guess this would have been September 18th of 2020 and then December 2nd of 2020.
Yes, sir. Sentence was in 2020. Then we had August 19th of 2020 was a hearing. We had December 2nd of 2020. Again, he was ordered, on that day to pay $800 no later than December 8th of 2020, or return to court on December 9th, 2020 at 9 a.m. in Forest Park Court. He would at that time serve 120 days. He was ordered at that time to remain on probation until released by the judge. Random screens throughout his sentence, fees, fund, and drug screens to be paid throughout. He did test positive that day. So then we had another hearing scheduled after a positive screen. He had missed numerous appointments throughout, often going a month to two without reporting. The last hearing was scheduled for June after failing a positive. He failed and tested positive for marijuana on May 7th of 2021. At that point, a court date was set for June 9th. Notice was mailed and he was advised of that date. Again, as we discussed earlier, the time on that court date did change from 9 to 1 o'clock. He was notified of that the day before. And at that point, he stated he was out of town working. And he did not appear for that hearing on June 9th of 2021. And a warrant was issued 2 weeks later. Looks like we had no contact with him from June of 2021 until his arrest in August of 2022.
Can you please outline how many total drug tests he failed?
Yes, sir. And we'll go. They're a little more clear if I go, I can get the dates exactly if I go back into the notes and look there. It's just a little clearer. I apologize for the delay. Give me just. Looks like we had our first positive drug screen September 18th of 2020. He admitted to use at the hearing in August, on August 19th of 2020. He admitted to using marijuana. At that point, he tested positive on September 18th of 2020.
Let me ask you, the one in August, though, it wasn't a failed test. He just admitted to it. Is that correct?
Correct. At that point, he was not ordered to abstain. Something occurred at the hearing where the court then said he had to abstain. That was the hearing where he had to get a job within 90 days, be drug screened. So then he tested positive after that on September 18th. He tested positive on December 2nd. He tested positive on, he refused a screen on, March 26th. He tested positive on April 7th at that following revocation hearing. That's April 7th of 2021. He then tested positive on May 7th of 2021. And then that's the last screen that was conducted after, and then he failed to appear for court.
And if you'll outline what's the outstanding time remaining and any outstanding fees or fines?
He has 232 days as of today. He has a warrant fee of $200 and he owes $86 in probation fees and fund. So that's $286.
Okay. Okay. All right. And those are the circumstances. So he's before the court for testing positive, failing to report, and failing to comply with probation rules and regulations.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so those are your three primary circumstances of delinquency.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
The tolling was issued based on his failure to appear for court on June 9th.
Okay. All right. Okay. Attorney Golden, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the probation officer? We can't hear you, Attorney Golding. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. You may want to disconnect and come back in again. Let's give her time to come back in. Attorney Golding. Your audio is not working.
Judge, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. I was like,
Wonderful.
what's going on?
My question is, did you hear the testimony of the probation officer?
Yes, Judge, I did. And so I did have a few questions.
Go ahead. You go ahead. You can ask as many questions as you'd like.
Thank you. So Officer Brown, you stated that Mr. Fambro failed numerous drug tests. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you personally collect the specimen for this drug test?
I was not his probation officer, so probably not, but I can look and see. Let's see.
But in your office practice, you all do watch the probationer during the exam, correct?
We leave, well, if a female observes, we leave the door cracked so we can hear. If a male observes, the door is more widely opened. After positive screens, we do put the policy in place where screens are to be observed. And it looks like his last positive screen was observed by Mr. Higgins. So that would have been a more, there's just no polite way to say it, but a more direct observation of the screen.
Okay, and so in your office practice, is the person that collects the specimen the same person that tests the specimen?
Yes, and if there is a positive test, then we will ask another probation officer to come and look at the results as well, especially if it's a case where someone has tested positive before, or if the defendant expresses any hesitation or denies use, we will ask a second officer to come in and look at the test and write what they observe as well. So in other words, if I conduct the test and I see a positive, and let's take Mr. Fambro out of the equation. Let's say Ms. Jones is standing there and she's like, there's no way I tested positive. There's no way. We will call Ms. Johnson. Can you come look at this screen? Ms. Johnson will look at it. She says, I see a positive initial. Well, usually I can't speak for every single time, but we do write down on the sheet that they've tested positive. Sometimes the defendant, if they're cooperative and if there's no reason to not, when you're standing next to a cup of urine, to ask them to initial on the thing that we've showed them the screen, but we always do because they're standing right there. We do the test in front of the defendant. But yes, sometimes we will call somebody in to look at it also, just so you have two officers looking at it.
Okay, so it's your testimony that it's just two officers to verify and not actual like another test to confirm, correct?
Now we do another test if they ask. They can submit another sample if they ask, if someone asks for another, and we always tell them they can go and get their own test to an outside agency within 24 hours of that test, one that would require picture ID.
But in Mr. Fambro's case, it would have been two probation officers to verify the test results, correct?
If he denied that he was positive, or if there was any kind of interaction in between, we would ask another officer to come in and look. We are all qualified and pass the test to do the screens. It's not required that two probation officers see a positive screen. We do that as a courtesy and also to back us up if someone is saying, there's no way, that doesn't say it's positive, that says negative. We'll get, because a lot of times they say, no, I see that that's negative there. So we would call someone in to observe. I can't speak to every single instance with Mr. Fambro. If someone walked in and gave him a second backup, we're just laying eyes on it. It's just two probation officers laying eyes on it. But every probation officer is tested and certified to perform the screen. We're not required to have two people observed, but we do that in instances where someone says they're not seeing what we see on the screen.
Okay, got it. And so just for the record, there are no probation officers that are lab technicians, chemists, or any type of, drug specializations or anything. Is that correct?
That's correct. We are just trained and certified on the test that we are providing. We're not chemists, no.
And just for the record, who else sees these test results besides probation?
The defendant.
The defendant. And so it's basically just probation's word against the defendants when it comes to a hearing, correct?
Yes. And the test, but yes.
The test that was verified by another probation officer, correct?
Correct. I mean, there's no way we could keep.
I'm just.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. 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 I don't have this. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't go to a lab. There is no other like technician that specializes in this type of testing that comes in. It's just basically 2 probation officers or 1, just depending on what the situation is, that says this is positive. And I'm going to say this is a positive result.
We don't just say it's a positive result. We look at the screen, we read the screen. It will say if it's positive or negative. We report that result to the defendant and to the court, and it's also written down what our observation is that day based on our training on the test that is given by the manufacturer of the test. But yes, today it would be just my word as to what the drug screen results were that day based on our training on the kit, the training that is provided by the manufacturer of the kit and the kit itself, and what was shown to Mr. Fambro at the time. I can say that each and every defendant is shown the results of the test.
Okay, thank you. And then are you aware of the test having any error rates or anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and so let's turn to Mr. Fambro not showing up to probation. Did probation contact Mr. Fambro via mail?
For which appointment?
Any appointment. Did they contact
Yes.
Mr. Fambro via mail?
Yes, we have an automated system that sends out text messages, emails, and mail. We send mail. Let's see. We also call him. I mean, he missed a lot of appointments, but I can say, if you want me to go through, outline them, I will, but he was contacted each and every time, either by phone, mail, text message, or email.
And so by mail, do you have certified copies of the mail actually being sent to Mr. Fambro's address?
No, we don't
No.
send for missed appointments or anything. We're not required to send certified mail, and we don't.
So also you said that he was revoked for probation numerous times and that he had court appearances. So for court appearances, do you guys not send out notices as well?
Let's see, I can look at each one of these. If they are reporting, they sign for a court notice, and I can see if that's what we did with him. They actually are given notice in person. Let me look and see. Court notice was mailed and signed for at the first one. And that was when he signed for his community service application. Let me see about the next one. The next court notice. I have to glance through these notes and see, I'm sorry. The one for November that he missed was given verbally, and then he called and said he had gotten confused about that date. So a court date was mailed for November 18th. And then he came in and signed for a court date in person on November 20th of 2020. So the December one, the first one he signed for, the second one for December, in December he signed for that one. Let's see about the next one. Looks like.
So just basically there are no return services, certified mail. There's nothing from probation that says that they sent out any mail to his address.
He's signing in person, but so he's signing for his court dates actually in person. He's signing for those. But then let's see.
And once he missed those court dates, there was nothing sent out from probation regarding him missing court or missing any appointments, correct?
If he misses appointments, there's text messages are sent out automatically. Emails are sent out. If they have an email on file, if we're talking about the last specific one, that court notice was mailed. We have a copy of that. We're not required to send them certified. We don't. So we sent that. He did know about the hearing. I have the text message from him when he said he was working out of town, when he did not come for that hearing.
And when he told you he was working out of town, did you try to notify the court or reschedule that hearing considering the fact that he wasn't going to be able to show?
He sent a text message. We didn't get any other response from him when he didn't show up to court that day. We did wait 2 weeks before we issued the warrant to give him time to contact us. And an email was, I'm sorry, a text message was sent out on June 15th regarding his case, but we had no, once he said he was out of town working and we never heard from him again, we did wait 2 weeks to issue the warrant, and we've had no contact with him since.
And when you guys issued the warrant, no one ever, I know that it's the sheriff's, but the warrant was never executed, correct?
We submit it to the city of Forest Park. Whatever happens with GCIC and it being served or hit confirmations or anything are out of my purview. I don't have anything to do with that. I'm just notified when they're taken into custody. And that was on, again, let me look, on or about August 9th. No, I'm sorry, August 7th.
Okay. And let's just turn to Mr. Fambro's employment. Are you aware of Mr. Fambro having a job?
I'm not certain. I do remember at the very first hearing, he was discussing that he was a musician. I think that conversation during that first hearing with Judge Freeman, I do recall him being some sort of musician, but I don't have no direct knowledge of that. No, ma'am.
So one of his probation conditions was that he must have a job, and you're not aware of whether or not he has a job. Is that correct?
I don't know that he submitted, I don't see where he submitted any documentation regarding employment. Any check stubs or anything. I can look, I wasn't his officer, but I can look through the notes real quick and see if they indicate that he submitted any proof of employment. I know we gave him a financial review packet for community service back in May of 2020.
So although he was ordered to test clean and to have a job, probation only violated him for not testing clean. Is that correct?
Right. We didn't have any verification of his employment. No, ma'am, it's not alleged on the warrant.
Okay, thank you. And then last question, just to sum everything up. I'm looking at the sentencing plea, and can you tell me all of the citations that Mr. Fambro received that day?
Looks like a permit violation, suspended license, and possession of marijuana. I don't have a copy of the tickets, but I can look and see.
Do you have the form, the sentencing form?
It's scanned in. Looks like we've got suspended license, possession of marijuana, and some sort of permit violation. Yes, ma'am, with no low pleas.
And out of all three of those citations, are you aware which one has the lowest fine?
Looks like the possession based on the city ordinance. Yes, ma'am, $180.
And so, I mean, just in your opinion, is it safe to say that, you know, driving with a suspended license is more severe than possession of marijuana according to the state statutes and their fines?
I wouldn't feel comfortable making that statement. They're both misdemeanors that are subject to up to 12 months incarceration and fines as set by the court. If the city has put some policy in place about a city ordinance, that's not for me to judge. All I can do is take the probation sentence sheet and go by what's on there. But no, I wouldn't say one is more serious than the other.
Okay, so just for the record, driving with a suspended license, the fine is $792, correct?
I'm looking at on this sentence, it looks like this one was either $792 or $790. According, I don't know if that was based on the bond schedule or if that was judge's discretion, but that's what is indicated on the sentence sheet. Yes, ma'am.
And the possession of marijuana fine is $180. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in your opinion, that's a big discrepancy, correct, between those two numbers, 100 and 700?
I'll say the fine amounts are different. Again, they're both misdemeanors with subject up to 12 months. And They're according to the city's bond schedule. I have no input into the city's bond schedule or make that decision. I will agree that there's mathematically a $570 difference in those two fines. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you,
Yes, ma'am.
Officer Brown.
All right. Is there any other evidence from probation regarding the circumstances of delinquency?
No, sir.
All right. I will hear from Fambro's side. Does your client want to testify, or is there any argument that you'd like to make, counsel?
Yes,
Let me
Judge,
just tell you, let me just kind of frame this for you. The issue for the court on a probation revocation is whether or not your client willfully violated his probation. So the standard is willful violation, and the willful violation here is the allegations that he tested positive and that he failed to report as required. There are some ancillary violations regarding employment and other things, but those are the two primary ones: are failing to report as required, testing positive, and failing to comply with the rules and regulations of probation. So I have to determine whether or not he willfully violated that. And of course, you would argue that he did not willfully violate it. So do you want him to testify, or do you just want to provide argument on this?
Judge, I'll provide the argument on it.
Okay. And if there's any cases that you have that you want me to look at, if you'll provide me with those citations, I'll be more than happy to look at them.
Okay, thank you, Judge. So I'll just say that Mr. Fambro didn't willfully violate probation. So probation has not given us any type of verified certifications that they actually made contact with Mr. Fambro, attempted to make contact with Mr. Fambro. They are relying on their automated text messaging system that was not even, we don't even know for sure if Mr. Fambro had the same number the entire time, and whether or not they did their due diligence to reach out to him. We don't know that the address that these notices are sent to, if they even were received by Mr. Fambro to show up to court. And then Officer Brown's own testimony stated that when she texted Mr. Fambro about not reporting on the day of court, that he said that he was out of town and that she just left it at that. And so I feel like this is just a situation where probation isn't doing their due diligence, and then later on down the line, they're now violating people for these things, for failing to appear when they didn't even reach out to them, and they didn't try to get in contact with their supervisee. Furthermore, Mr. Fambro attempted to appear at probation and attempted to go to probation. However, when he went, the door was locked, and he left a note with probation to say, this is Mr. Fambro, can you contact me at this number? I'm not sure if they ever received the note, just like they're not sure if he ever received any of their notices. And so I think it's just a miscommunication between the two parties as far as him reporting to probation and missing probation. As far as the failed drug test, I think that, like you said, Judge, in the event that Mr. Fambro does have a drug problem, and let's just say, for instance, Mr. Fambro has been smoking marijuana all his life, I think that he may never pass a drug test. There are some people that their system is so intoxicated with drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, that they will never pass a drug test because it's just so much drugs in their system. And so I do think that Mr. Fambro should be given the opportunity, now that he's been incarcerated for over 30 days, to take a drug test. And if he still doesn't pass, then it goes without saying that he would have never passed a drug test each and every time that the probation would have given him a drug test, just off the strength that he's been incarcerated for 30 days and he hasn't had any use of marijuana or any type of illegal drug or substance. And if he still doesn't pass a drug test, then it just goes without saying that it is not Mr. Fambro willfully going against probation. It's just the event of the inevitable circumstance of his situation of having an addiction to marijuana, if the court believes that he does have an addiction to marijuana. And so within this last 2 years, from the time this case first started in 2020 of March to now, Mr. Fambro's life has been a whole 180. At the time, he didn't have a job, he didn't have anything going on or anything of the sort. And now fast forward to 2022, Mr. Fambro managed to gain full custody of his 3-year-old daughter. And Judge, if you know anything about custodial battles, like you have to be a fit parent to even have custody of a child, especially a minor child. And so Mr. Fambro is a fit parent and he does have full custody of his child. He managed to maintain a job throughout this whole time. He has worked in landscaping, he has worked with Airbnb, and he also managed to get signed as an artist. And so he does have that job as well as still managing Airbnb properties. And so Mr. Fambro did, he is willfully trying to comply with probation. He is trying to, show up to probation. He's maintained a job. He is trying to pass his drug test. And he even was honest with the court and willfully told the court, like, admitted to his drug use. And, it's each time the court has threatened to violate him for 120 days. And it isn't until now that this is being brought up in front of the court. And, we do get the opportunity to tell the court all the changes that Mr. Fambro has made thus far. And, I think he should be given another opportunity because he did, in sitting in jail, he did realize the severity of the situation. He did realize the court's orders and what they meant. And I think at the time back in 2020 and 2021, when he was going through the back and forth with the court, I don't think Mr. Fambro understood probation. I don't think he understood the guilty plea. I don't think he understood any of the things that was transpiring against him. In the short time frame that I did get the chance to get to know Mr. Fambro, I got the opportunity to express to him just many different things as far as what transpired in the past with this probation stuff and what's going on now. So just in speaking to him, he didn't understand any of the proceedings against him. I think he was just showing up and just kind of just showing up. And so now that he did have time to sit in jail and be away from his child, his child who is that he has full custody of, and then also he recently just lost another child while he's been incarcerated, I think that he had this time to really sit down and really understand what it means to be under the court's orders, what it means to follow the court's orders, and how important it is and how serious it is. And I think that this time away from his family and away from his children allowed him to really grasp the concept of probation and that he will do better going forward. And so, Judge, we just ask that, that honestly that he be given another opportunity to pass a drug test immediately after being released from prison or 30 days after that, and that from jail. And then we also ask that he just be that probation just give him credit for time served and that he be released under the condition that he passed the next drug test for sure.
Okay. All right. Okay. Is there any final remarks from probation? There doesn't have to be, but I always offer.
No, Your Honor, again, like I said, I do know that he was given ample notice. He signed for all but the last court date. I feel confident in saying that Mr. Fambro understood the proceedings as they were occurring. He was very articulate, animated, and participated in the process. I'm confident in our drug screens. We followed the processes and procedures as established by the court's guidelines, our contractual requirements, and our training under the manufacturer of the drug screen. So,
okay. All
yes,
right. Sir. Okay. Okay. So let me just clarify something. When he was originally sentenced, he was placed on probation for 24 months.
Yes, sir.
Was that for the 2 traffic offenses?
I'm guessing it was there were 3 citations there. They weren't detailed. Our standard sentence sheets will just have each offense listed and then the total amount of supervision.
All right, I'm gonna verify that, but I'm pretty sure it was only for the 2 traffic offenses, because if he paid a fine of $180, then it was treated as a city ordinance violation of possession of marijuana, and to which there would not have been any probation. So the court finds this. The court does find that Mr. Fambro did willfully violate the terms and conditions of his probation by, number 1, testing positive on September the 18th, 2020, December the 2nd of 2020, April the 7th of 2021, and May the 7th of 2021. Also, the court finds that Mr. Fambro admitted to consuming marijuana in August of 2020, and he refused to be tested on March the 21st of 2021. So there is a history, and yes, I do believe that there may be some type of drug addiction going on here. The court is going to revoke 150 days. He will get credit for the 30 days that he's already served. So he will serve another 120 days in jail. Once he is released from jail, he will be reinstated to intensive probation. And a condition of his intensive probation is that he will maintain gainful employment and he will provide written indicia of being employed, whether it is some type of wage statement as a 1099 or as a W-2. He will provide that within 30 days of being released. Probation will perform random alcohol and drug screen. And if after 60 days, there are no positive drug screens, he can come before the court to ask to be released from the balance of his probation. So let me repeat the sentence. He has been found to be in willful violation. 150 days of the 232 days are being revoked. Once the 120 days have been served, because he's given credit for the 30 days, he will be placed back on intensive probation. While on intensive probation, there will be at least monthly drug screens, at least monthly random drug screens, and he will have to provide written documentation of gainful employment, either through the landscaping business, the Airbnb, or the fact that he's a music artist or whatever he's doing. But he needs to provide written confirmation that he is working. After 60 days following his release, if there are no positive drug tests and he complies and does not refuse any drug test and reports timely for all appointments, if after 60 days there are no positive tests, then he can petition the court to be released from the remaining time of his probation. That will be the order of the court. If you will please draft that up, send that over to opposing counsel, make sure that is her understanding. I have my notes, and then send that to me through DocuSign. I will sign it, and that will be the probation revocation order of the court.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Attorney Golden, do you have any questions?
No, Judge, I don't believe so. No, so just to be clear, you're revoking 150 days, and so he really serves 120 days, and then once he's released, he's gonna be back on intensive probation, being tested once a month or randomly.
At least once a month, at least once a month.
At least once a month.
That is
and
correct.
Then if 60 days, he can petition the court to be released, considering if he doesn't have any positive drug screens and if he's been reporting on time.
And he's provided proof of employment.
And proof of employment. Okay, no questions, Judge.
And proof of employment, of course, will be a pay stub or something. If he's an artist, it might be a royalty statement, it's something, but it's something showing he is receiving income for his labor.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So Madam Probation, if you will prepare that, shoot a copy over to Attorney Golden. If you all will get that to us, we have court again at 1 o'clock. I can do it as early as today or sometimes tomorrow, and then we will enter the order and get it over to the jail.
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you all, Attorney Golden. You did a wonderful job. I wish that Mr. Fambro had retained you a long time ago, and I hope that he keeps you on board, especially when he finishes up his sentence and he has to navigate his remaining time on probation. I think that you will provide him with very sound advice as it relates to what he needs to do to try to put this behind him as soon as possible. I thank you for your presentation today. Good job. Thank you to both of you all and have a great day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you so much,
All right, you
Judge.
all
Have a
take
good
care. All right.